What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with Daily Refinement. Today, I want to talk about the only thing that bugs me about resellers. And it's not just resellers, I'm guilty of this too, but it's just the unrealistic timeline. All the goals that people come up with are completely reasonable. You want to list 10 a day, you want to figure out how to find $20 profit items, you want to do this from home, you want to replace your income, you want to afford a vacation that's extra every year, you want to pay down some debt. All these are reasonable, but usually people, their timeline is way too short for this to actually happen. And I just want to go over how I would approach this. So I always recommend that you guys aim for at least $6,000 a month. That's $72,000 a year. That will put you in the top 10% of resellers. And you're not going to start at $6,000 a month, though it takes time to build up to that. So what does that look like when it's all said and done? I think it looks around 500 to 2,000 items in stock that you're proud of, things that are worth it, things that would sell without best offer just because they're a great deal, great item at a great price, 500 to 2,000 of those. People get so caught up on their promotions, best offer. If you just have great items at great prices, you can just wait and the items will sell. So don't get so overwhelmed with getting 500 to 2,000 great items in your store and just throw up 500 to 2,000 garbage items that take forever to sell. Those don't count. And I'd much rather you have a store with 10 items in it, and all of them are great items and they're going to sell. That's going to totally transform your bank account because you only purchase 10 items. So you have a whole bunch of money left. And when they sell, you did a good job and made 2 or 3 times your money. So you might have a small store, but your items are really, really, really profitable and you know what all your items are. And great item at a great price is the model. Now, I always recommend if you're going to do this seriously, I put up the job ad yesterday and most of the people who applied didn't give me any reassurance that they could actually do the job. So what I'm looking for ideally is that if you've kept a job for at least 3 years, that shows that you can stick to something for at least a little while. And when I say you've stuck to a job for 3 years or longer, that actually weeds out like 90% of people. But you got to give yourself a chance to be successful. 3 years is not that long. 3 years is less than a college degree. It's less than a lot of professional internships. I think even a plumber requires more than 3 years of on-the-site training internship before you can consider yourself anybody decent. You probably have to work under somebody for at least 3 years. I can't believe how many people haven't kept a job for 3 years or longer and they expect mid-level management income when to become a mid-level manager somewhere, you've got to work at the bottom level for a couple of years, get the hang of it before you can show other people how to do it. So I recommend 2 weeks of inventory backlog. That means if you can't find anything for 2 weeks, you're still okay. It ends up being 140 items. I think people are thinking about when can I hire people? When can I scale? When can I make this money? You need the security blanket first. So you need to make sure you have items that reach your profit goal in case you can't find anything. You need to have 2 weeks of draft bank in case you want to take a vacation or family situation comes up. At my company, I consider sick leave and vacation time the same. I don't know if people listening right now, you had a company that paid for both sick time and vacation time, but as a small business owner myself, I actually group those together. The people that work for me, they get 2 weeks paid off for sick time or for vacation time. They can use one or the other. They don't get both. I don't know how companies can even afford to give out more than that because it's so hard to run a small business to begin with. Ideally, you're paying people as much as possible with the most benefits possible, but they also have to be at work being productive so that you can pay the bills. So you're not going to have a 2 week draft bank right away. You're not going to have a 2 weeks of a queue of items ready to list right away. It's going to take some time. A lot of people listening right now, you might have a death pile or a death house or all these things that are unlisted at home. If you do, that would be the first place where I start pulling some income out. I would rather sell those items locally on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace and just get a few bucks to start over. Because at this point, if you guys are listening to my podcast right now, you're probably a lot better of a buyer now than you were a couple of months ago. Probably learned a few tricks or two. Now, if you have that capital back, you can start over and buy better items. So next is listing 15 items a day, 5 days a week, taking the weekends off. The number one most requested thing from people in a job is flexible hours. Number one. And I'm telling you guys right now, eBay probably is the best job on planet Earth because you could work 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. if you wanted, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. You could work noon to 5. You could work 5 till 9 p.m. You can work whenever you want with this schedule. It has the most flexible schedule of any job I've ever seen. I actually think eBay is a fantastic job, career, business. It's one of the only businesses that works at every single kind of level. There's people that do one listing a day. There's people who do, I think the store that lists the most items per day is 9,000 unique items a day. So from one item a day to 9,000 unique items in a day, that all exists on the platform eBay. You can choose whatever you want to be on that platform, and that is absolutely incredible. You can pick exactly what your story is. You know those books where you open it up and you can pick which story? You get to do that with eBay. You get to write the ending, the beginning and the middle. Now here's the part that is the most important part, and this is where you should focus all of your effort. Finding the best possible items you can. It makes the rest of reselling a lot easier. In my example, my goal is for you guys to source 15 items in 4 hours. So please put in the comment section or in the comment section below if you can do 15 items in 4 hours that meet your profit goal. And if you cannot, that's fine. Let's just be patient. You can't have that expectation that you're going to be able to immediately do that. It's just so unrealistic. You've got to take your time and be patient with that. It's not going to be an overnight process where you can find $15, $20 profit items. And I'm giving you 4 hours, so it's about 3 to 4 items per hour. So I hear people say, I went to the store and didn't find anything. I'm kind of expecting you to only find 1 item per store and go to 4 stores per hour. That's how selective I would be. When I say I want you to spend less than 2 minutes cleaning or preparing the item for photography, I'm being serious. Yes, you could find something that takes a lot more time to get ready, but if you're out there for 4 hours, hopefully you can find a few items that don't require any cleaning. I'm not saying be stupid and don't pick up a violin that's worth $2,000 because it requires $200 worth of cleaning. Maybe that is worth your time. But for most people, if you're just starting, I would say leave that violin there. Call a buddy and say, hey, you've got a little more time than me, a little more money than me. Why don't you buy this violin and give it the attention that it deserves? Because I cannot. I have to be spending all my time out here in the grind. This is where you should be spending your focus on. And if you're sourcing tons of great items, you can hire. People are asking in the high-level call earlier when you can hire. Too many great items. Too many sales. Way too much shipping. You can probably hire. Too many items to list that are lower quality is a absolutely terrible reason to hire people. Because you overbought the mediocre stuff is not a good reason to hire someone. You have way too many good items, you just can't list them fast enough. Fantastic reason to hire someone. Now the requirements. I think this part is really interesting because I put, if you want to work from home, I would recommend a 2-car garage, a 20 by 20 space. Any space that's at least 15 feet on one side, it gives you a tremendous advantage over people who only have 8 or 10 feet in one direction because it's just a lot easier to maneuver around in there. And I know not everybody here has the opportunity to get a room that's 15 feet on long one side. I'm just telling you, it really makes a big difference because you're not stepping over yourself and over your own items as you're processing them. You can create a space where it's really, really comfortable to get items listed. My main focus has been this job description because I really think it's important for us to design our job description, do the job description, and improve it every single day, iterate on our own process. If you want to get to the point one day where your store runs itself, I know a lot of people here, it kind of rubs them the wrong way when I say that. I'm just saying you need to have a store that one day you could take an actual break from. You don't have to be there every single day. You could take a vacation and you're still going to get paid. That's all I'm saying. I don't know why so many people are against that. What's wrong with having a business big enough that you can still take care of you when you're on vacation? Why does it have to be so small that it doesn't work unless you're there? What's so great about that? Why does it have to be so small that it doesn't work if you're not there? I don't want my business to be so important. I don't want to be so important in my business that if I don't show up, the whole thing collapses. I like to be a little bit more stable. So don't expect to have a 2-car garage right away. I didn't. I just did it in my bedroom. I remember at one point I was only selling golf clubs. I don't know if you guys remember this part of my career, but in the early days, I actually switched to golf club seller only when I didn't have enough room. So I just had the space underneath my bed, and I just put golf clubs 1 through 100 along my bed, and my inventory system was 1 through 100. There was a small period in my reselling career when I only sold Scotty Cameron. I went down to the Scotty Cameron store, which is in San Diego, and I would look for items, and they were really expensive. So I didn't have enough money to buy that many items. So my eBay store only had 70 to 100 items in it. That was it. Scotty Cameron has a very, very high sell-through rate, sometimes as high as 300% a month, meaning that you could buy an item and expect it to sell in 5 to 7 days. Super fast. So in that scenario, I like to say, and this is the meme I'm trying to make go viral, there's no speed limit to good items. You can list as many good items as possible. eBay will not slow you down. Your customers will be very happy. As long as you ship it out on time, you can list as many good items as you can if you can find them and ship them. There's no speed limit. If you're going to do the bread and butter type of items, then the tried and true daily listing goal, building up X amount of store works. But if you have a hot item, just list as many of those as possible. Anybody right now listening can camp at the Scotty Cameron store in San Diego, dress like a golfer so they don't think that you're an imposter. Go in there a couple times a week, check the inventory, see what's doing well, what's trending, buy a few pieces, resell them for a few bucks, come back, rinse and repeat. I know someone will listen to this podcast and maybe show up there and try to spend $10,000, but they're going to kick you out because that's not how those operations work. They're boutiques. They like to serve certain clientele a certain amount. That's not the place to go there and flash your money. That will not work because it's not what it's for. But you're there to buy a couple of pieces for your friend or as gifts, or you're interested in golf and you really like the brand, they will help you and serve you. They'll tell you what's popular. They'll even tell you what's reselling well. It's all about the approach. And I feel like people need to be patient. I've spent thousands of hours looking for things to sell, and it's really, really paid off. But in the beginning, it was quite slow. And I've always known that it was going to take time. Right now, I know I need to make a couple of changes to hit my annual income goal. And I know I need to finish these changes by April 1st in order to have a chance to get it done by December. So I'm already planning next year now, and it's January 25th on this podcast. Right? I'm looking at getting some longer term leases. I'm looking at getting some equipment. I'm looking at, different hiring. I was telling people on the call before this, I'd like to have a year of savings for each employee so they don't have to worry about their job for a year. They can just focus on doing a good job. It's a lot of money. But I want to be preparing ahead and make sure that I'm ready. And I think you guys will know when you're ready as long as you just make more than you need. You cannot hire someone to get more sales if your sales are slow. Just want to remind people of that. It doesn't work that way. Your sales are slow. You can't hire someone to fix that. You got to go in there and do it yourself. You can only hire people when your sales are gangbusters and you have too much money and you need to put it somewhere, and you want to put it somewhere and growing instead of just your bank account growing. I would say that's a healthy place. If your bank account is growing the same amount every single week or more each consecutive week, it's a good time to hire someone. Because you have a little bit extra to give to somebody else to help you work on something of higher value. That's where you'd want to focus your effort. Okay, now I want to get into the requirements for a solid business. And I'm going to go over this a lot because I feel like a lot of people keep forgetting. I just want to remind you, there are 5 things that you need, and these 5 things you cannot rush. Take your time and build these. A dedicated prepping area. This is where your item is ready. Dedicated photos, dedicated listing, dedicated shipping. And you have to have a dedicated way to source items. Sourcing, shipping, listing, photography, prep. All five of those need a dedicated area. If you have all five of those, you can print money. You have all the systems. All you need is just execute your sourcing route. You can just go to your 13 stores. You can expect 1 to 2 items per store. Come back, 26 items that meet your metrics. You're ready to go. Everybody here has the same job. You're an e-commerce store operator. Whether you sell on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, Amazon, whatnot, Vestair Collective, any of those websites, you have the same job. I recommend Monday through Friday, weekends off, 300 items a month, 15 listings a day, Monday through Friday. That's 360, or it's like 300 and change listings. The rest of the in change listings go into your draft bank. If you want to find a relevant job that's related to reselling, I would pick something related to accounting, something related to quick serve restaurant experience. Like if you were to work at Chipotle and get a part-time job as a bookkeeper, I feel like you'd have a really good chance at being a successful reseller. It's just like that process orienting, so important. I think I kind of feel like I'm at Chipotle when I'm getting my items listed, to be honest. Preparing all the ingredients, do some cooking, make sure that it's cooked to the correct temperature, it's ready to serve to people safely, that you're filling out your item specifics, making sure it's as accurate as possible. Then you price it where you think people will actually buy your food, and then you continue. So things that I think would really help: accounting, quick serve, sales background, any type of professional background. And if you've kept a job for 3 years or longer, that really would help. If you haven't kept a job for 3 years or longer, you need to ask yourself, why not? Is it because you're the type that can't be hired? That's okay. But like, what kind of environment could you create for yourself so that you can give yourself a chance to work on your own gig for 3 years? So important. Recommend a dependable car, a computer, internet, smartphone to research while you're out there sourcing. Hopefully you can lift 15 to 20 pounds. Got to be faithful, have good attitude, be attentive, be trainable, got to be resourceful. And I'm going to take this from Matthew McConaughey, got to stop half-assing things. You give it your full shot, you've got such a good chance to make this work. But if you don't give it your full attention, you're competing against people who are, and it makes it really hard. Can you imagine playing basketball against a team? All of the other people are distracted. That's what it's like when you finally figure out how to resell. You realize everybody else is so distracted, they're not even paying attention. I could go on the eBay right now and find 10 listings that don't have the brand. They don't have the category. It's the wrong color. It's priced way too high. Description's wrong. Shipping is $29 for a t-shirt because they weren't paying attention. Don't let that be you. As far as training goes, I have here in all of my jobs 2 weeks of continuous training that's paid for, and there's performance reviews. And essentially, I hire people that I think that can do the job, and then I make sure that they can watch me do it, and then they do it. And I don't know who taught me this, but I do, we do, you do has been how I've been training recently, and it's helped me so much. I do, we do, you do. I don't know where that came from, but that's been so useful to me. It gives your staff so much confidence when you can do it. I remember at jobs that I've had where my manager, I know they have no idea what they're doing, and they tell us to do things, and it's kind of insulting. So it's a really nice to watch your manager do what you're supposed to do. Here's the thing: 2 weeks paid training. To do that at home right now, what you need to do is sell stuff around the house. You can get paid without spending any money. Keep doing that until you run out of stuff. Now you're on your own. Your training wheels are off. I recommend paying yourself at least $35 an hour, working at least 40 hours a week. And I don't know if this is insulting for some people, but I heard that like if you're not doing well, maybe you shouldn't. I don't know. This is like a hard thing to say, but I just think that there's so much time during the day that you could be adding more to your business and to your own skills. And every second that you're not doing that in the beginning is just so harmful because it compounds. The more you can put into the beginning part of your business, the bigger it becomes later down in the road. So now I want to give you guys the final part of the patience model. And this is where you should focus your attention. Make sure you focus your time on room for growth. This means getting a little bit more space than you need. Draft bank, your space is really clean, everything is put back, your supplies are all paid on time. Just want to make sure that you're paid, you're ready to go, your space is big enough. Because that extra margin, I think, has been one of the biggest changes in my business, just having enough space. Lunch and breaks, I think you should take them before or after your tasks. I think that's one of the biggest distractions, is taking a break before you are done. Pick and ship, photos and listing, networking, resetting to zero. All these things take a lot more time than you think, but just be patient. Everything that you're thinking about right now, everything that I've said is totally doable for you, just not right away. Then finally, this is the part that I think is so critical. For the person working for me, making $35 an hour, this is going to be their route. Average cost of goods, we're going to try to keep it $10 or lower. If you find something over $10 that has a high value, please text me. I will confirm with you if it's a good buy or not. Our goal is $15, $20 profit items in 4 hours. We're going to go thrifting 3 days a week, Goodwill bins 1 day a week, flea market 1 day a week. If you want to go to the flea market right when they open or an hour before they open, or a garage sale right when they open or an hour before they open, you can get paid time and a half. Online sniping is where you make a list of things that are undervalued on certain websites, mainly eBay. eBay is where the majority of my online sniping list is, because people don't know what they have and they're posting it on eBay, trying to make a quick buck, and maybe they undervalue something by a significant margin. So guys, I just think the biggest mistake is entrepreneurs drive themselves crazy with their timelines. Just need to extend it out a little bit. What if it takes you 3 years to build your resale business? What's wrong with that? Not everything is like Uber, where you sign up and go drive and you get paid on Friday. That's not how reselling works. So I just want everybody to be a little bit more patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace. Things take a long time. I've been reselling for such a long time. I've been reselling full time since 2017. It's been 7 years, and I'm just barely starting to get the hang of it. Takes some time. And I've been selling stuff for almost 25 years now. I was telling everybody in the chat that I used to sell Strivectin wrinkle cream. It was my very first job. They taught me needs development, which is where you ask the customer a series of questions to see whether or not the product is a good fit. When you guys are at the store, please do some needs of development. Is this something that I can process? Is this something that I can store? Is this something that I can grade? Is this something that will sell in a period of time that I want? Does it give me the profit margin that I desire? If so, take it to the cash register, double check it 3 more times, take it home, list it the same day, wait for it to sell, buy 2 more items. That's it, guys. I give you permission to be patient with your goals. I'll see you guys in a week. Thank you, guys.